Today, we welcome Mike Hurley, St. Ignatius College Prep's athletic director. A great guy, a great success story. Welcome, Mike.
Good morning, Jim. How are you doing?
Good, thank you, Mike. So, I think about Ignatius and somehow I don't think about sports. You've really been successful at Ignatius in a short period of time. What is your secret to success?
We've been very blessed this past year in terms of the level of success that we've had. It may be too short of an answer, but the secret to our success is really trusting our coaches, trusting our student athletes, giving them the tools necessary for them to compete, have fun, and embody our school mission through our athletic programs. And they've done a phenomenal job with that. So it's been really fun to oversee and observe all of it throughout the school year.
That's great. So what's the most enjoyable part of being an athletic director?
Yeah, there's so many fun parts of being an AD. I think the best part is the relationships, building the relationships with our coaches, our student athletes, our parents, our alumni. There's just so many people on a day-to-day basis that we engage with, ADs from other schools, other coaches. So that would definitely be the best part. I think to kind of add on to the enjoyment of being an AD is that every day is different. You're an administrator, first and foremost. Some days you're a fan. You can be a counselor to coaches and kids. You can be a financial person with our budgets. You can be a long-term visionary with facilities. You're a facilities manager. So a self-promoter too, in terms of marketing and selling what we have to offer to current and future families. So every day brings a little bit different to what the role is, and it keeps me on my toes every day. So it's always fun coming in. Even today on a summer day where we have summer camps, there's always work to be done, and it's always very engaging.
So how would you describe your management style with all those constituents you described?
Sure. I would say my leadership style very much falls in lines with servant leadership. I very much try to see what the needs are of those around me, whether it's our department with our other assistant athletic directors, our athletic trainers, our new strength and conditioning coach. Our coaches, what are the needs of those around us with our student athletes and our programs, and how do we satisfy those needs in terms of helping us get to the next level? Maybe it's equipment, maybe it could be a facilities upgrade, maybe it could be an assistant coach opening that we have. It could be an improvement in our processes in terms of our handbook or tryouts or day-to-day operations. So I think the most important thing is listening to what those needs can be and try to problem solve with the stakeholders around us. I'm by no means an expert in this role or the job requirements that it has. So I rely on so many others that go around me and above me to our principal's office, our president's office. You have to keep an ear to the ground to hear what everything is that's going on and just try to answer those. And you do it to the best of your ability. And when it works well, it's a lot of fun as we've enjoyed this past year.
So how do you inspire your coaches to keep doing better, keep excelling, and keep growing?
Yeah, I think for coaches, it's a lot with the landscape that we have today. I try to give a lot of positive reinforcement as much as I can, just in terms of it could be parent feedback, it could be student athlete feedback, it could be observations that I have at a game. Our coaches and coaches in general have such a high standard for their work and the time that they put in. Countless hours after, late nights and, planning and scouting and lineup cards, tryouts, so many different things that go behind the scenes, where I think it's so important to recognize that and celebrate that and commend that, to really just give the coaches the support that they recognize that, my role and our department see that. And we're so proud of it, and it keeps them going. And you really try to make sure that they stay motivated, because it's so easy to be, worn down, beat down as a coach in so many different sports with how long seasons can be and the off seasons, and always looking ahead to what the next season may bring. So I really try to bring a lot of positive enforcement to so many of our coaches for all the work that they do.
So you brought up an interesting point, Mike. You always are trying to get better. Who taught you that skill? Because it's a great attribute to have.
It's an important quality to have, and I think it's one of the pillars of our schools. So I would say St. Ignatius was one of the first ones when I was a student here, being open to growth and wanting to get better. That was definitely something I recognized as a student. My parents, first and foremost, they always encouraged me to reach for the stars and do more with whatever was in front of me and make the best of every situation. I had so many great coaches growing up in Little League and middle school, and even in my CYO basketball experiences in high school. Just keeping me motivated. And the thing I recognized as a high school student and a grade school student is coaches have such a beautiful ability to kind of sense out needs of individual students. What my needs were as a player and as a student were different than some of my friends and teammates. And I think one of the strengths that so many of our coaches have and is required for coaches to reach high level success is sensing out what those needs are is from the individual perspective of a team, and how do you bring that all together? How do you get a team aligned with the players on it? And how do you get everybody to buy in and make them feel valued, so that regardless if you are the top player on the team, the star player on the team, maybe you're a role player, maybe you're an end of the bench player, but whatever role you have, you bring value to the team and the program. And that's something that I always took a lot of pride in when I was a coach. And I think when all those pieces come together, that's going back to kind of the success question we had a few questions ago. That's when you can reach high level success, when you have everybody bought in.
So if you had to look back, and obviously it hasn't been a long period of time, what would you say is the biggest impact you've had on St. Ignatius athletics?
Yeah, it's definitely been a very quick a journey right now. This is being my third year going in, and hopefully here for many more years after that. But I think in the limited time, I would hope that we had a lot of positive joy and pride with our athletic programs through COVID and coming out of COVID. So many individuals involved in our process, coaches, student athletes, administrators, school leadership. We were able to have athletic events go on through COVID under what the Illinois sports guidance was. In the infancy of our summer camps 2 years ago through 2020, we had all these unique guidelines and parameters. We had outdoor workouts where we had everybody separated by 6 feet. Everybody had masks. We had check-in policies. We had temperature checks. We had people in gloves. I mean, we had so many new processes that we were implementing on the fly just to get kids on campus to work out safely. And I think from our success we've had this year, because we were able to stay open and because we continued to offer athletic experiences, given the guidance that we received by our state, we did our best with it. And we kind of saw the effects of that this past year when so many of our programs had success in their respective sports. So I think one takeaway right now, I hope I've increased interest and pride in school sports. And whether you're a student athlete or just a member of our student body, sports are very fun and it brings people together, regardless of what your role in the sport is: coach, student athlete, fan, alum. It has the power to unite people. And when it's done right, it brings so much joy and pride to so many different people. And we've experienced that. And I hope that's kind of the lasting takeaway that I've had thus far 3 years in.
Cool. So you go to an awful lot of events. I know I've seen you at countless events that Ignatius participates in. What is your thought process about attending all those events?
Yeah, this is just how I'm wired and how I think. I think it's the only way to do it. I think it's the right way to do it in order to provide support and support our student athletes and our coaches. You have to be readily available. You got to attend as much as you can to show that you're there and you're observing and seeing how things are going, so that as an athletic department, we can always look at self-improvement and growth. We have 34 different athletic programs at St. Ignatius, divvied up in the and we're blessed to have it. Believe me, it's a great it's a great thing to be able to offer that to all of our students, because I like to tell, current students and prospective students that there's something here for everybody in terms of athletic participation. So the fact that we have a lot is a good thing in my mind. And with the different sports programs, the different seasons, every single day there's something to go to. So you try to be present and available as best as you can. And you can't be everywhere at once, but your presence can certainly be felt. So I try to share that with our athletic department and each of our programs.
Is winning everything, Mike?
In my opinion, it's not. I'm sure that's open for a much larger debate with a lot of people smarter than I am. But in terms of winning is the end effect of when so many things in the process go well and go right. And I'm very much a process driven coach, administrator. I want to make sure that we're doing things the right way, that we are, through our athletic department and through each of our teams, we are living the values and mission of our school, that we're incorporating education-based athletics through our athletic department. I think we see as a public, we see horror stories of, it could be a high school story, it could be a college story of athletic teams or programs being disconnected from the school or the institution. And winning, as we've won this year, it was even more rewarding, because each of our programs, they are extensions of our school. They live our mission. We try to live our Jesuit values and ideals through each of our programs. And it's very much an extension of the school. So I would respectfully say winning is not everything, but winning occurs when all the little things are done right. And if the little things are being done right, that in my mind is winning, which we're very proud of.
That's great. So what do you look for in a coach? You've described an awful lot of attributes. You've described a philosophy. How do you assimilate all that to look for a coach?
Yeah, that's a really fun part of our role. Obviously, I highlighted the relationships in terms of one of the cool parts about my role. I think whenever we are going through a search or we're looking at our coaches, our current head coaches are phenomenal people. And I think first and foremost, they care so much about our kids. I think regardless of their playing experience, their coaching experience, you have to demonstrate to myself and to our department that you care about our kids first and foremost. Maybe you are aware of our school. Maybe you competed against us back in the day when you were a student athlete yourself, or maybe it's just being aware of our school from the success that we've recently had. But you have to be able to demonstrate that you care for our kids and you want to see them succeed. And it can't just be, the top players or the starters. It has to be for all of our kids and for the program. So I think first and foremost, that care. I think secondly, I think there has to be a willingness to be open to growth and to be willing to improve yourself as a coach. We expect that of our kids. And I always enjoy talking to our coaches. We have to be able to live the same things that we communicate to our student athletes. If you're telling our student athletes one thing, but kind of deviating and doing opposite, it's going to be hard to get a buy-in from our players and from our team. So our coaches have to be able to live what we're communicating to our student athletes. So that's another quality that I think in terms of leadership that I have. I always like to see it. I said that this is my leadership style, but I do enjoy seeing servant leadership with our coaches too. Nothing makes me more proud, than seeing our coaches after a practice or a game. They're cleaning up the field, they're organizing the benches, they're throwing trash away. I think that's just a great role model, mentor type role that our kids can look up to when they see adults kind of modeling the behavior themselves. And we very much are a family. I'll end with that one. It's that we collectively work together and we collaborate. We spend so much time together as coaches and administrators here after hours throughout the school year that we are a family. And just like families, we have a lot of positive joy together. We also have some tough conversations and some disagreements every now and then. But I think coaches always know that from me personally, I care about them. I want to see them succeed, just like all of our student athletes do. And we will work together to find solutions to everything that comes our way.
Well, so you brought up the concept of family, Mike. I think you have a new family member. Do you want them to play sports?
Yeah, my wife and I are very blessed. We had our first child this past fall. His name's Patrick, and nothing would make me more happy to see him eventually play sports later in life. I also want to see him pursue his passions, whether that's sports or otherwise. I think as parents, we can support our kids as much as we can to see them what they want to do, and we got to let them be willing to fail on their own as well throughout their journey, and support them through that. We can't control everything that goes on in our children's lives, but we can be there to support them and help lift them up when they go through adversity.
That's great. Congratulations on your many achievements, Mike. You've really set a new standard of excellence for St. Ignatius, and I wish you continued success in leading St. Ignatius into the future.
Oh, very kind. It's a great blessing and honor to be here at St. Ignatius, and it's great to connect with so many people in our community like yourself. And thank you. Really appreciate the opportunity this morning.
Thanks, Mike.